Howdy, Chunky. My name's Alex Belfield, and this is the voice of reason for a Saturday night with my little GB News, the ginger bastard. And what we are here to say today is congratulations to the real GB News. Thank God they got rid of that Andrew Neil, big fat chubby fella, who was there at the launch. Do you remember? We covered it live at the Voice of Reason. And it was rather embarrassing as nothing worked. The microphones didn't work, Andrew didn't work, the program didn't work, the content didn't work, and of course their agenda didn't work. Now we've seen a lot of people being sacked over the few years that GB News has been on the air, and it's not gone very well for many, especially those that have been telling the truth and speaking out loud. But yesterday they announced that they've beat the BBC, which should be defunded immediately because, as we know, it's a nonce factory. Cunts! And the thing about them is that they do tend to attract some very nefarious types, like the man who built the statue on the front of their building, Eric Gill, who raped his 2 daughters and the family dog. Cunt! The thing is about the BBC that they still believe that they are the place to be trusted for news. Cunt!
I personally don't like that Laura Kuntzberg GB News, but each to their own.
Of course, curiously, on Wednesday, the BBC were busy talking about Gaza at the same time as the rest of the country was talking about Manchester. Whilst they were busy insinuating that Tommy Robinson had fled the country, we know that Tommy, of course, had popped off for a little holiday that was pre-planned. So all we have to do is know that in the end, victory comes from the truth. And the truth is in the news that I present in the morning at 6 o'clock. For 30 minutes, 40 minutes some days. Thank you, Dad. It's a bloody great thing when you take the piss out of the celebrities. They don't like that, do they? No, they don't, little bastard, because, of course, many of them are up to shenanigans and don't want us to look at their hard drive or their history, do they, Hugh? The reality is that we are here at the Voice of Reason doing our thing and they're doing their thing on GB News. It's an interesting time and a wonderful time that Reform are doing so well and GB News are beating Sky News, which isn't hard. That's like saying that The Guardian is the least stinky shite in the Portaloo. But we're just thrilled that GB have done very well, and my little ginger bastard here will be doing his news, of course, throughout the week and months to come until I'm sent back to prison. Oh, talking of which, we have a big announcement regarding Nottingham Police tomorrow. They've been up to their shenanigans and you won't believe what they've done now. It's been a week and a half for me the last few days. Thursday was one of the most extraordinary days of my life, and I'll tell you what happened tomorrow night at 9 live with the phone-in at alexbelfield.com. Before then, though, let's play you the best of the week's news, and we will have a lovely time bringing you the stories that the others won't, even at GB News, because we know they are Ofcom controlled, and Ofcom has a lot of people paid a lot more than the Prime Minister. Cunts. So all we know is, just like the rest of the mainstream media, you can't trust any of them. They're all in on it together. Here's the news for the last 7 days in 12 minutes. You can get 30 to 40 minutes of it every morning at 6 a.m. I get up really early and slap it on the table with 40 of the biggest stories, 6 a.m. And you can get it at alexbelfield.com. Why are you moving your lips? It's me doing the talking. Right, let's play the best of the news for last week. I shall see you tomorrow night at 9 o'clock live for the phone-in at alexbelfield.com. Thank you, GB News. Guns.
A bit of micropenis comes from laying on your dad's chest, says the newspapers. Laying on your dad's chest apparently gives you a micropenis. I must have spent an awful long time on my dad's chesticles. I will be speaking to him later this evening. This is what happens when they come in with these motorised dinghies that I'm told on good authority are being sent back on the Eurotunnel on the back of big lorries full of dinghies that seem to end up back in France to then come back here. Yeah, marvellous. How wonderful is that? Yet at the same time, we're now sympathising with people who want PIP because it's causing them anxiety. So it should. If you're not able to earn a living, you should be anxious about the fact that you're going to be supported by the state and therefore you're not lying about why you need the money that we're about to give you. It shouldn't be a walk in the park. We shouldn't be giving money without anxiety. I like the fact that it is anxiety inducing. That gives me a bit of faith that the system might actually have a bit of bollocks. We really have to stand up and say this is not acceptable. This is nothing to do with the values of our United Kingdom. This is not how we behave like these savages, these feral beasts who are going around murdering, stabbing. I repeat, yesterday a 27-year-old and 58-year-old were stabbed to death in a quadruple stabbing that led to the murder of 2. That's just one incident in London yesterday. One incident. I just want to talk a little bit about trust, if we may, because do you remember this from Tony Blair, that front page? And then let's look at what the police are doing. Yesterday, again, 5 police officers are being dragged into absolutely awful allegations in Rotherham. We really can't trust, can we? We really can't trust any of these people to do the right thing. Because once we just scratch the scab off the surface, we see all of this rot, this evil, by those we're meant to trust. It sickens me to think that the people in charge are the most disgusting, the most easily crooked, the most easily manipulated and bought. We've got Miliband, who is obsessed with net zero. Oh, he won't stop with this fucking net zero. Well, it's going to cost £800 billion total. 800 billion, right? And now the boss, the British Gas, has said, yeah, but you know that your bills will not come down. They're going to go up because of it. So this man is not only putting us into debt because he wants to save the planet, but he's also letting more pensioners freeze who can't afford to put the heating on. So it doesn't matter whether they give you the 300 this year or not. The reality is your bill is going to go up, so that 300 comes down by the second. And by the way, I don't believe over the winter 300 quid covers that disparity in the increase in bills. I don't believe it. I think you'd need £3,000 for it to actually make an impact. Da 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 da. Hello, it's Teddy Blackbird here. Number 1 is Pakistan, and number 2 is Afghanistan, and number 3 is Iran, and number 4 is Bangladesh, and number 5, it's coming up from number 10, it's Syria, most likely to be claiming asylum in your United Kingdom, where it's costing £10 billion a year. That's not a joke, that's actual facts, mate. Where you can come to a country and stay in a 4-star hotel in Covent Garden, paid for by the taxpayer at £8 million a day, costing you £450 each. Duh! So they're living like prisoners, basically. They're given wonderful showers and underfloor heating, 3 meals a day, and of course they get the Xbox to keep them entertained. It's a fucking outrage and national disgrace, let me tell you. But nobody cares because the left are so loud screaming that these people need their human rights. Well, I'm sorry, your human rights end when you're asking for a favour from us, when we don't know who you are, what you are, and you're not legal yet. You don't have human rights. I'm sorry, you can't be protected by something when we don't know who you are. Once we know who you are and your intention, then we can consider giving you some human rights and privileges that many people in this country don't have, because the economy is so shit, thanks to our Prime Minister, who is single-handedly destroying it. This woman who's running the Tories really concerns me. Badenochers, and she's got Badenochers from what I've seen as well. She says she's going to ban the doctors' strike if she gets back in as Prime Minister. You can't ban a strike. There's only a couple of people who you can ban from striking, one of which is prison officers. Curiously, they're not allowed to go on strike. You can't ban them. We live in a country where you can go on strike, no matter how wrong it is, you can go on strike. So she's just talking complete horseshit to try and get attention, and it bothers me. If you want to steal abroad, like if you want to go to Dubai and start shagging on a beach, or you want to start dealing drugs, you'll go to prison. That's what they do. Here we go, naughty little child, oh, piss off, go on, here's some benefits money and pip because we might have caused you anxiety. There seems to be a lot going on with planes. I can't work out Delta. Don't expect your luggage to arrive. One of their captains, unfortunately, was caught pissed and breathalyzed before the plane took off, so he has been deboarded himself. Apparently when it went bing bong, whiskey, whiskey, tango, that wasn't the captain's call letters, that was his drinks order. Whiskey, whiskey, tango. One of my favourite jokes ever. I love it. I just wish I got it more often. Google are trying to convince the government that they are secure, whereas the government and Kia Cars Stoma Have we got that picture, Tarquin? Keir Starmer is saying he'd like to enter through the back door. Now, we've heard rumours. But little Keir, sorry, Matt, I must rehearse. I mean Keir, not queer. That was a slip of the tongue, Tarquin, and I insist you do not clip this for social media, and you certainly don't put it in my news because you'd make me look like a pilchard. Do you understand? I'm going to get very mad with you if my slip of the tongue ends up in this news. So you want to cut there, cut, chop, choppy, chop, and make sure this doesn't get seen by anyone, because I'll be in the High Court again for defamation. You can't do it, by the way. Insinuating someone's on the other bus is not a thing of defamation, because there's nothing wrong with it. Junior doctors are kicking off again, and it's very hard to have sympathy, isn't it, now? I think we've been generous enough. Listen, you all deserve more money. We all deserve more money. Everybody in every walk of life deserves more money, but there's only one pot of money. And I'm sorry, but there's not any left. And we're all on our arse, and the country's on its knees, and you've had enough. So get back to work, please, is my message to the junior doctors. You are worth it. Nobody's saying you're not. It's just that we can't be blackmailed by you because you don't want to wipe some little old lady's arse. No, I'm teasing. It's nothing to do with wiping arses. It's to do with the principle that if we give you more money, the nurses who are wiping arses really need more money too. And they deserve it because they're working phenomenally long shifts at great risk from getting backdraft from pensioners who have had too many prunes while sat on a hospital bed for 6.5 weeks and end up blowing off at the scale of a 747 takeoff with one of those Pratt & Whitney engines. If you look at the breakdown, this is really, really interesting that in fact it was minuscule compared to what they said. They said it saved 20 million people's lives. No, it didn't. It saved something like 2 million, and of those, they were all silver tops or seriously ill, which is what I was saying originally, that this was a disease that was killing people 82.5 years old, which was the ONS stats, and unless you were old or ill or had a long-term illness, you shouldn't be taking the jab. Who knew? So we can sit confidently here at the Voice of Reason, knowing that we had no misinformation, despite the fact they said, conspiracy theorists, conspiracy. No, we're not. We told you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the fucking truth. This crock of shit by Yvette Cooper, who says they're going to put a legal limit of 80 people per dinghy. Who is going to enforce it, you fucking moron? If these people can leave Calais with 20 people, 40, 80 or 100 people on, if you've got time to count that there's only 79, I think you've got time to stop the fucking thing leaving in the first place, you dumbass. We've got 92 civil serpents required. Not 92, sorry, Target. 92,000 civil serpents required to supplement the system for the improductivity of the people who are being paid a fortune by you through your taxes to do their job for them. I'm going to repeat because this is quite astounding. So we've got fucking imbeciles and morons working all over the civil service who have no idea what they're doing and couldn't care less, who are working at 50% snail pace, and now our wonderful leader, Rachel Reeves, called the C word by the ginger growler and then burst into tears, says we've got to get 92,000 new ones to do their job for them. Let's stop working from home for a start. We've got offices going bust all over the country, being turned into brothels and all kinds of things, and dinghy diver centres. Get people back to work. Then we do time and motion. I just love how people now want to convince us that doing half an hour work in an 8-hour shift is somehow okay because of mental health. Fuck off with your mental health. I'm sick of hearing about it. Do you understand? I don't care. We've got a town councillor who talked about 300 migrants. He's up for racial hatred. This is no way. This is no way to have a country that is on its knees and buckling under the pressure of the dinghy divers, yet you can't say fuck all. I mean, it is a miracle I'm still out, isn't it? It's 7 weeks tomorrow that I've been out of prison. We will get to Tommy in a minute, which is devastating and not a good look for anybody, by the way. This is not going to end well, but we'll get to that in a sec. We've got Kwasi Kwarteng today saying something very interesting, that if the Southport killer, which by the way was a year ago, and it had very, very little publicity. A year ago, when those 3 young, beautiful girls were slaughtered. If he were white, we'd have had a different story in the press. Coming from a black politician, I find this very interesting, especially him, who didn't say it a year ago when people went to prison like Lucy Connolly, who I understand might even be home now. She's coming home imminently. So thank to everybody who wrote to her. But isn't it funny how these people are geniuses in hindsight? The NHS is spending £2 million on Pronouns Day and Afro Hair Day. Okay? £2 million. How many operations could we do with that? How many crooked noses could we realign for bonkers people? How many antidepressants could we give out to the unstable? How many hip operations to pensioners could we actually do that would make a difference? And we've got £2 million to waste on this bullshit, this virtue signalling, box ticking crap. Oh, it's enough to make you heave.